So, how do you look for locations when you're working on pre-production for your film? Now, this is something that for my project, locations is something I'm actually having to tackle right now. I mean, probably when you're working on your own productions, maybe you'll be figuring out budget and cast and crew and all that stuff before you start looking for locations. But for this particular project that I'm working on right now, it's pretty important that I know not only what my production dates are, which I talked about in my last vlog. Thankfully, I got those figured out. Again, it's December 26th to January 8th. I might have gotten one of those dates wrong, but that's generally the window I'm looking at. It's pretty important that I find the locations now. And the reason why is because I'm sort of figuring out what I have to spend a lot of my budget money on. And one of the things that is going to be pretty important is making sure that I have private property to film on. So I might have mentioned in passing, I've been pretty vague about what this film is about because I don't want to spoil anything, and also I don't want to build a bunch of anticipation about what the film is going to be. I want to kind of focus on what the production logistics are right now as I'm recording these videos. But it turns out that as I've been doing my research and doing all my soul searching and figuring out how I'm actually going to execute this project on a micro budget, it became very apparent to me, especially from talking with other videographers, filmmakers, that if you have a script that calls for people trekking across a rural area, a lot of exteriors, and also if the script calls for them using prop guns, then you're going to run into some issues. If you're shooting outside and you've got setups with microphones and tripods and a crew, chances are you're probably going to run into trouble because you're going to need to get permits. You're going to need to let the local authorities know what you're up to, and they're probably going to want you to spend some money. Also, you never know how the general public is going to react to your production, especially if your actors are carrying guns, even if they aren't real guns. If they're realistic looking prop guns, well, then that can cause you an issue. And I've actually discussed this at length with another video person that I do work with quite a bit. He's someone that uses a lot of prop guns in his productions, and he's experienced this, and I've actually experienced similar things too, that when you're out and about filming with prop guns and people see what you're doing, you can encounter problems from both ends. If you encounter people that are anti-gun, then they are going to get scared of what you're doing and probably call the cops on you. Conversely, if you encounter people that are pro-gun, chances are they might feel threatened by what you're doing and come at you with their own guns, and then you find yourself in another sticky situation. So I don't want to deal with either of those scenarios as I'm making my film. So it became very, very clear to me that the best way for me to shoot this film, which I've said before, it's an apocalyptic thriller, so the need for prop guns kind of is pretty obvious. These actors are going to, these characters are going to feel the need to be defending themselves with these weapons. Shooting on public land, just out in the open, is just not going to be an option. I'm not going to have the budget to have, safety crew, security detail, getting permits, blocking off streets. That's just not going to work. So I have to find private property to film on, and it has to be near the locations that I want the story to take place. The story is going to take place in the Central Valley of California, specifically the Sacramento Delta. And these characters basically are trekking across the Delta, across the valley, to get to a town called Lodi because they're heading east from the Bay Area because a nuclear bomb has gone off in San Francisco. That is the plot of the film. And so I found out, okay, the way I'm going to do this is that I started researching on Airbnb if I can find a farm or a ranch that I can rent for all of my production dates and kill multiple birds with one stone. So I was looking for a farm that had all the locations I need, that had a farmhouse, that had rural scenery, that had basically all my look and feel, all my locations that I could film right there, and maybe do some insert shots of the establishing area here and there, like bridges, delta waterways, but then any scenes that involve the actors having dialogue with each other, where I'm going to need possibly lights and tripods and microphones and camera rigs, things that would cause an obstruction while shooting in the public. I could do that on private property and have prop guns and all that stuff, do what I need to do, and not deal with any interruptions or cause any problems for the general public or cause problems for law enforcement. So that was the way I had to go. And then also I was thinking, okay, well, how am I going to get my actors to the location? How am I going to get my crew to the location? And it's probably not going to be very sustainable to be shooting all over random parts of the Sacramento Delta and having people driving out from who knows wherever they live every single day. That's not going to be very sustainable, especially with gas being so expensive. So my solution also entailed, okay, well, this place that I'm going to find that I'm going to rent to shoot on should not also have the locations I want for filming, but also should have a place for my cast and crew to stay so they actually can spend the night. And I basically came up with the solution that, when I'm talking about how I'm going to compensate my cast and crew, is that my idea is I will book this place for 2 weeks, and essentially the payment is that my cast and crew is getting an all expense paid vacation on this ranch or this farm, and that's what they're getting out of it. And basically, let's film, have fun making a movie while you're on this vacation. And so that's the production plan that I have. And so thankfully I found the perfect place on Airbnb. I went out to check it out, and I'm looking forward to doing it there. The Airbnb is booked. I've figured out how much money I can spend on it, and now I even have more of a mountain to climb, and I have a production plan in place. So as I approach my cast and crew, I've already talked to someone who might be the cinematographer. We're going to be doing a table read very, very soon. I'm going to discuss with the actresses, like, hey, this is the plan, this is what you get out of it. If it doesn't work for you, no worries, I understand. And if it doesn't work for them, I'll start looking for other actors or other crew members. And I already have other people that might be interested in doing this, or people I'm interested in approaching for doing this. And, someone could possibly look at this and say, how dare you're not going to actually, plan on paying your actors what, a certain fee or whatever. And it's possible I could have room in the budget for a couple $100 here and there. But this is the main meat of how the production's going to go down. I already have the property booked. It's a property out in Lodi, and they've actually told me they'd love me to shout it from the mountaintops that we plan on filming there. It's a place called Sargent Equestrian Center outside Lodi, California. We're really looking forward to working with them. It's going to have everything we need pretty much right there, although there's other locations like a gas station, which I've thankfully have found a gas station to film out nearby that location. I've also got other places that I could possibly figure out, but those pieces will fall into place as we get closer to the production dates later this next coming winter. The weather, I'm praying and hoping that I will have weather like this, overcast days but no rain. Of course, I can't control the weather, so one of the things I'm going to have to work out with my cinematographer is how to get that look and feel, even if we get bright sunny days, things like that. But we'll talk about that. That's where part of the challenge of filmmaking comes in. Now, budget. I've spent maybe a quarter of my budget on locations now, possibly even a third. So now I got to be very careful about how I spend the rest of my budget. And one of the things that's happening too, and this kind of stuff comes up as you're making an indie film, is things that catch you off guard that turn out to be more expensive than you thought. For instance, I am going to do a table read in a couple of weeks with some actors and have some potential crew members there to watch, and I'm already getting caught off guard by budget. For instance, I already told my actors that I don't want them feeling like they need to print out their own scripts. I want to be able to provide everything so they can have their minds at ease and focus and just performing the acts at the table read and act to their heart's consent, so we can see the script come to life and see if we need to make any changes or do any reworking before we make the actual film. It also gives me a chance to see, are these actors someone that could potentially be the ones I finally cast in the role. The problem that came up, and I didn't anticipate this, and those of you who are trolling YouTube and looking for someone to make fun of me for not even thinking about this, but just printing out the scripts for my actors is going to cost like $400 if I do it at FedEx office. $400 is a lot of money. And am I really going to spend $400 just to print out scripts for a table read? I don't know. So I got to decide, am I going to use the film's budget to do that, or am I going to find an alternative way to have my actors read their scripts, or find an alternative way to print them out? That's the next obstacle I have to figure out, because I also have to spend money to feed my cast and crew just for the table read. So these are the kinds of things that come up. These are the kinds of gotchas that come up when you make an indie film. So I'm curious to know, anyone out there who's done indie film projects, what kind of gotchas or things have snuck up on you, have come up. Would love to hear some comments. Let me know what your experiences have been. Hopefully my experiences are helping you out as you plan your productions, but we'll see. In any case, good luck on your projects, and thanks for watching. Oh, and by the way, why am I using the earbuds again when I got a mic for Christmas? Well, turns out the audio on the Apple earbuds actually sounds better in this mic than it did on the mic for Christmas, although I'm still very grateful for my wife's Uncle Mark for getting me the microphone and the camera mount, which I'm still using. Those are the kind of things you find out. Apparently this sounds better than the lavalier mic that I got for Christmas. If anyone has any suggestions for iPhone compatible microphones that are cheap and get good sound, I'm all ears. Let me know. Good luck on your projects, and thanks again for watching.